What's up, you guys? Happy Friday, or whatever day of the week that you guys are listening to this on. Who knows? I am just gonna say, moving to Kansas, very much enjoy it. Very much great time, bittersweet, whatever. I am experiencing, for the first time really in my life, the amount of tornado watches and warnings that they have every time there's a thunderstorm within now in, I guess, June, because that's when tornado season is. I'm not loving it. I'm not loving having to worry about whether or not there's going to be a tornado that drops down in the middle of the fucking sky and just sweeps us all away. And they don't even have a basement. My girlfriend's dad's house does not have a basement. They don't have a tornado shelter. And I asked her, I was like, so what do you guys do? If there's ever a tornado in the area. And you know what she says to me? We just get in the car and we drive away. They get in the car and they drive away like fucking storm chasers or storm runners. I don't even know. But I'm like, I have so much stuff. And when I tell you that I am very sentimental in my things, okay? Like, I want to grab everything, if anything. And it gives me such anxiety, like having to wake up or even hear thunder clapping, because let me tell you, they have the worst storms I've ever experienced in my life. I'm pretty sure I said this in a different episode, but these storms are so loud. From Michigan, okay? Michigan does have tornadoes, but that's like southern Michigan, and it's very rare. Very, very rare. We would always get like tornado warnings. Never really had to worry about watches, but I'm legit living in the middle of Tornado Alley. So, RIP, I guess? I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's just a stressful time. And the anxiety that I feel every time I hear the thunder rolling, which is so just, it shakes the whole house. It shakes the whole house. And it shakes my soul. Anyway, I'm just sitting here talking about the weather. As for other things that give me anxiety as of late are, everything that's happening on social media, which I have to take everything that happens on social media with a grain of salt, because I really don't know, like, what's true and what's false. Everything could be fake. Being as though I have experience in the digital media technology area, when I tell you that everything can be fake, including now that we are more exposed to AI, yes, a lot of theories are like, oh, they wanted us to have blah 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 AI so that way we can't tell what's fake or what's not. This was even happening before, okay? The issue is anything can look made up. Anything can be angled properly in order to give a false narrative, right? Because we never know the full story of anything. It's always they said versus they said, or he said, she said, or whatever. Just take everything you see with a grain of salt, but do the research. Now, my issue, not even issue, is I don't enjoy doing research about certain things unless I'm like fully invested. You know what I mean? Like, things that get my curiosity going or just send me down a goddamn rabbit hole. Epstein files, for sure. Absolutely. Anything that's like sick, twisted, and whatever else, I'm like, how the fuck does that happen? That's what gets my interest. But anything, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, it's hit or miss with me for sure on whether or not I find something interesting or fascinating or whatever. But conspiracy theories, absolutely. Politics, eh. A lot of politics, we don't know the full story. We don't know. They could easily give us false information. Like, everything if not anything, could be false information. You know what I mean? So everyone that is higher up just lies. I don't trust them. I don't trust a lot of things that we see, or people that have something to say, or whatever else. Like I have severe trust issues. I've said it before. But yeah, the world is sick and twisted and dark, and yeah, there can be good things that happen. Like, I do believe there are a lot of good people out there who, want to make the world a better place. I'm one of them. My girlfriend is also another. Like, all of my friends, good people, very trustworthy, like, absolutely, absolutely amazing. It's just a lot of things that happen in this world can really just cloud our judgment and really, I don't know, make it feel like everything is pointless, and we just have to find those good things and be the good in the world that we want to see, no matter how small it is. Because I think a lot of people also think like, oh, I'm just me, like I can't do anything, better. And it really puts a damper on your mindset when you think you're just this person who doesn't have any power. Like, no, that's really not true. I think it's more so aligned with like just being a kind person and showing other people kindness and doing the small things, because small things can really mean something huge to somebody else who isn't you. Even if you think it's small, they probably don't. And yeah, but world right now kind of sucks. So being that, we're gonna talk about some interesting stuff, because I always bring the topics. Ladies and gentlemen, now I know a lot of people have issues with this topic, and the consensus around forgiveness and how do we forgive, and like feeling guilty about forgiving or not forgiving, and just the whole mess of things. And when I tell you that it can be not even the most complicated of things to do, it's more so people overthinking forgiveness. Now, you have issues, family issues, like in my case, when we have a biological parent who has left us, it's more just about like, they left me, I can't forgive them, like, I just don't understand how they could have done that. Or somebody who broke your heart or betrayed you and you think the same thing, I don't know how they could have done that, like, I would never do that to them. And we're just going to dive into that topic because I'm going to walk you through it. Now, I said before, people misunderstand forgiveness at its core, okay? Forgiveness is an internal release. It's just the decision that you yourself make to stop carrying that emotional weight of somebody else, even if they never apologize, never change, or never understand, okay? It's not excusing the behavior. It's not forgetting what happened. It's not letting someone back into your life or just pretending you're over it or some spiritual bypass, love and light, and it's fine. Forgiveness is simply about freeing yourself, not freeing them. Because let's be honest, you don't have to fully like tell somebody like, oh, I forgive you. For example, and I'm not saying like if you have a tussle or, an argument with somebody, you go, oh, I forgive you. That's different. I'm talking about somebody in the case of where you never speak to them again. You never want to speak to them again. Someone in the case of, a parent who does something like abandoning you, or you don't ever want to contact that parent again, going no contact. Some people have that complicated relationship with their parents, okay? Now, speaking from this, it took me not even, I guess I should say a long time, because I remember sitting in the car with my mom, stepmom, which you guys should know by now the difference between me saying mom and biological mother. Like, stepmom is mom and biological mother is biological mother. So I was sitting in the car with my mom, we were driving, and I remember asking her, I was like, what do I do if I can't forgive her for all of the stupid shit she did? Why do I have a hard time? Why does it affect me so much? Why can't I let it go? And does forgiving make, or not forgiving, make me a bad person? And I just remember her looking at me like, no, she did a lot of things to this degree that forgiving her is more so your decision. And I didn't start really acknowledging and working through these things until I started Happily Abandoned, the first podcast that I had. And it really did help me understand more about the dynamics of being abandoned and becoming more self-aware and really getting into the nitty-gritty and trying to figure out topics to talk about. My whole thing is, do I forgive her? Yes. Why though? You know, Magdala, you have all these stories about your biological mother like doing this. If she never left you, like you wouldn't have, moved around a lot or had this mess of a life and whatever else. And that's exactly why. Because if she had never done these things, I wouldn't be who I am and where I am today. I never would have. God damn it. I always forget to turn off my fucking phone. I never would have had these experiences. I never would have been relatable to other people. I never would have found other people to connect with through having the same type of events that occurred, i.e., having a parent not be in their life. And it has been messy, it's been beautiful, it's been chaotic, and I forgive her because she was also young. She was young, she was dumb, like we all are. She made the decisions that she thought were best for her at the time. And yeah, probably selfish. But when we're all young and dumb, a lot of us, think one thing and go off of it. Like, we make a choice and we have to live with it. And her choice may have not been wrong or right. It was just a choice that she had to live with. And I had to decide at a young age, like, no, I don't want her in my life because I already have somebody to fill that void, aka my mom. What matters the most and what forgiveness does not require is, because most guilt comes from thinking we must do something, like we have to do this. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciling or trusting them again or ignoring your anger or losing your boundaries and rushing the healing, because you can forgive someone and never speak to them again. You can forgive someone and still hold them accountable. You can forgive someone and still choose yourself. So in making those choices that I did when I was younger, I had to. And no, I'm never going to understand the choices that, she made and other people have made about forgiving. And I'm just using my biological mother as the pinpoint because it was the first time in my life where I'd been let down and disappointed and betrayed. Now, from a friendship standpoint, because we talked about this on the last episode, it took me a year, like a little over a year, to get over that heartbreak and betrayal over the girl that was my friend. Penny is her code name. I was so heartbroken over that. And I probably said it in the last episode. Like, I just remember being with my friends and finding out, like, oh, she actually went behind my back and, was talking shit and telling people about my, you know, things, and just informing people of things they shouldn't have been informed about to try to cause drama between the friend group. And I didn't like that. Like, that was not cool. And I just remember after that day, like Memorial Day weekend of doing Topgolf and, finding out all this information, sitting in my car with my girlfriend on the phone, and I just like started sobbing because I knew that this shit was happening. It was my intuition. I knew that I couldn't trust her, but yet I ignored it and, did it anyway. In my previous relationships, I forgave and really just thought like, oh, forgiving is going to change it. And it never did. And I really just started having more boundaries after, each time I trusted somebody and then they broke that trust and then, ended up forgiving them because it's not for them. In order for me to move on, in order for me to not be angry and just internalize it and be heartbroken, I had to forgive. Like, I'm going to forgive them because that's just what I'm going to do in order for me to move on and heal. But I'm never going to tell them to their face, nor am I ever going to rekindle that connection because I don't want to. Like, you did what you did. You did me dirty. There's no reason for me to go back. Why? So you could do me dirty again? Sure, yeah, people do change. But I don't think people like that really change until they're put through circumstances that make them change, if that makes sense. Like, they really have to go through something to make them fucking change. And I kind of made like a wish. I made a wish against Penny. And I was like, a lot of the times, like, my wishes kind of come true in such a weird way that when we were friends, I made a wish for both of my friends. I was like, I wish them nothing but happiness. I wish for them to get into their relationships, be happy, have somebody. And as soon as she did that, I like took my wish away, which is so crazy because she was seeing this guy. And then from what I understand, he was seeing a girl before he started seeing her, got that girl pregnant, and then decided to leave Penny and go back to the woman that he got pregnant. Yeah. Wishes work fast in my case, if you know what I mean. And then oh god, it's just like karma's a bitch, that's all I'm gonna say. But I had to forgive in order to move on because my other wish was I wished for her to have a friend who is exactly like her, who does the same exact things that she does until she learns to not be a shitty person. But from my understanding, she doesn't have a lot of people in her corner to back her up, so maybe that's karma well served. I don't know. It was just so hard to forgive because, like, we were close. We hung out almost every weekend. We texted all the time. And then for me to hear everything that she had been saying behind my back or like doing behind my back, it was just so irritating and awful. And I was like, damn, this is really crazy. But I should have known because she was the type of girl that anytime that I was interested in like someone she would also be interested in them. And I noticed that little pattern that every time I was like, oh, like, they're kind of cute or they're kind of cute or whatever, whatever, she would just go behind my back and also add them on Snapchat or get their phone number. And I'd be like, okay, that's kind of weird. But soon after I came out as gay, so like when she was doing it, it really didn't matter. But I just like picked up on that pattern of like, yeah, that's really fucking weird, but it's not a big deal because I'm not really into these people. It was just, for attention. And it was just one of those little layers that I caught on to with the fact, and I was like, oh, okay. But the thing about it was so fucking hard to forgive and let go because forgiveness is, emotionally taxing because the brain hates injustice. We cannot not problem solve. You know what I mean? Like, we are wired with a justice mechanism. Like, for when somebody hurts us, our brain holds on because it wants a situation to be corrected or acknowledged or been like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, why would you do that? Like, I want a genuine answer of why you would do that. What the fuck? And then, we're not dramatic when it comes to the pain because pain imprints itself on the nervous system. Forgiveness is hard when our bodies are still in defense mode. And our identity just gets tangled up into the wound or the issue or like the pain, and sometimes the pain becomes part of our story. So I'm the person who got betrayed, I'm the one who wasn't chosen, and letting go feels like losing a version of ourselves. And I didn't want to hold on to that anymore. So I had to consciously make the decision of like, I had to forgive, to let this go. And sometimes, yeah, she'll come up, but it's never like oh, I hate that girl or whatever else. It's always just oh yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay. Anyway, karma's a bitch, whatever. And then move on. Sometimes we just don't feel safe enough to forgive because forgiveness requires that emotional safety, not force. And if our bodies think that the threat can still hurt us, it will resist forgiveness, unfortunately. And then a lot of us just confuse the forgiveness with reconnection. People fear forgiving because they think it means giving someone a second chance, and it really doesn't. You do not have to give them a second chance if you don't want it or don't want to. That's really your decision. Like, anyone can do your dirty, and you are the one who decides, like, oh yeah, I'll give them a second chance. Or you can cut it off right then and there. Like, that's why I have respect for that girl, that codename Elizabeth. She found out that I wasn't being truthful with her, and she cut it off and had that boundary right then and there because she caught me lying about texting my ex. And yeah, it was none of her business, but that was her decision to have that boundary, and good for her. Like, I will never be like, oh yeah, damn, that sucks. Like, I kind of wish I never did that. But, everything happens for a reason. Especially, like, to my mind. Like, I don't believe in coincidences. So, like, there are two types of forgiveness, being the decisional forgiveness. I choose to release this even if I don't feel it yet. This is cognitive, like making a promise to ourselves. And the other is emotional forgiveness. My body finally stopped reacting to this memory. So this one takes time. Decisional forgiveness comes first, and then the emotional forgiveness follows later. And both are valid, and they both take patience. So I think 6 months, no. A year, I'm pretty sure. A year after I like consciously made the decision, like, I choose to release this even if I don't feel it yet. that cognitive decision, like I made a promise to myself, it took me almost a year later to have that emotional forgiveness, to do that, because I don't like to hold on to that shit for very long. Like, it's not fair to me. And then, like, what if we want to forgive someone but can't? This is extremely common, okay? If you are in this position, just know that this is common. You are not alone. And you might want peace, but you still feel anger, resentment, grief, or just you're scared. And that's okay. There could be a bunch of reasons why you can't forgive yet. You haven't processed the hurt. You're skipping to the ending before you've felt the beginning. You are still in survival mode. You haven't received closure, and you may never receive closure. And you have to be aware of that. You're trying to forgive someone who never took accountability. You still believe forgiving them means letting them back in. And forgiveness requires capacity, not desire. So if you don't have the emotional capacity yet, that is not a personal failure. It means the wound needs more care. You need to dig deeper and feel it and just go through the motions of it. Anytime anyone's done you dirty, okay? Top people that I can really think of are, biological mother, kind of with my dad, my exes, the few of them who have done me dirty with that, even though I'm the one that broke up with all of them, they still like did their shit to get me to the point of breaking up with them. Not even the first, one of the girls that I like really wanted to date, like I'm pretty sure she went back to her ex and just didn't tell me about it. And then I had to find out from a friend. That type of betrayal fucking sucked. What was the other one? Penny, like doing all of that shit. Those things are my top, like, 5. Was it 5? Maybe I can't count. I don't know. But it takes time to do all that stuff. It's not easy. And I really had to sit with myself. I really had to think about it. I really had to talk through it multiple times. And I do recommend, the more you talk about something, the better you will feel. I promise you. I promise you. Try it. Even if it's talking into your voice memo, journaling, talking to a friend, talking to your therapist, the more you talk about it, the better you will feel. I promise. And if it doesn't work, come talk to me and be like, Migdalia, you fuck ass hoe, like you fucking told me, you promised me, bitch. Listen, DMs are always open. You can rant at me and be like, I don't feel better for talking about this situation. Try it first, okay? If none of those other options work, then, text me in the DM. Stupid ass hoe. What? I just make myself giggle. What to do when forgiveness feels impossible, because there are points and times where it does. You can work toward forgiveness in layers, okay? Layer 1, acknowledge the injury. Say the truth without minimizing it. I was hurt. I didn't deserve that. Because a lot of people think that they deserve to be treated like shit. You don't. You really don't. And I don't know who the fuck told you that, but you don't. Honestly, if you have some karma to repay because you were a shitty person in, recently or in a past life, whatever, you got to do your karmic cycle, okay? That's all I'm going to say. But if you fully think like, I did not do anything, I was not a shitty person, I did everything right in this situation, I did not deserve that, you're in the clear. You are in the clear, my friend. Layer 2. Validate your emotions. Anger, sadness, jealousy, fear, confusion, all of it is normal. You can feel it all at once. You can feel it one at a time. But acknowledge them. Be toe-to-toe with that motherfucker. Think, see, visualize, ask the question, why do I feel this way? Why? You have to ask all the questions in order to get down to the nitty-gritty. Layer 3, setting boundaries. Space makes forgiveness easier, not harder, okay? Layer 4, Separate forgiveness from reconciliation. Tell your brain, I can forgive without going back. I don't have to go back. I don't have to talk to them. I don't have to tell them that I forgive them. You can just do it consciously by yourself without getting that connection back. And that's okay. Layer 4. Wait, I already did that one. Duh, stupid ass bitch. Grieve the loss. That's layer 5. Grieve the loss. You're not just forgiving the moment, you're forgiving the fantasy, the expectations, the version of them you wanted to believe in, the version of yourself you were at that time. And grief comes before forgiveness. Because even if it is like a friendship or, someone doing you dirty, like a parent or a partner, like those are all types of relationships. Though, like, grief comes with that. Plans that you made fucking sucks. Then they do some fuck ass shit like that and you're like, wow, okay, cool. And then, people have that guilt around not being able to forgive. And this is where a lot of people like feel stuck, and you don't owe forgiveness on anyone else's timeline, okay? It's a personal process, and sometimes the guilt comes from family beliefs, religious pressure, being the bigger person. Bitch, I can't be a bigger person, I'm 5'2". Maybe you're shorter, who knows? Wanting to be a good, kind-hearted person, thinking forgiveness equals virtue. But real forgiveness cannot be forced, because forced forgiveness is emotional suppression. So that's where the, oh yeah, I'm fine, everything's fine comes from. And we don't want that. You have to take your time. And if anyone's judging you for taking your sweet ass time trying to forgive, from the situation, that's their own fucking problem. And if you're the one who's like, I can't forgive myself, let me tell you, we're gonna get the fuck into that, okay? Self-forgiveness is often harder than forgiving others. Why? That's a big question. Why? Because you can't escape yourself. We replay our mistakes. We judge our past selves with our, present knowledge and wisdom. The whole phrase of, I wish I knew now what I knew, I wish I knew then what I know now. I always get the fucking words mixed up. Self-forgiveness requires acknowledging what happened without denial, understanding why you did it, taking accountability without self-hatred, making amends where it's possible, rewriting the story, not erasing it, choosing to stop punishing yourself, because that's never going to work. I tell you. A powerful self-forgiveness practice is just saying to yourself, I did the best I could with the knowledge, awareness, capacity, and tools I had at the time. I'm growing now, because self-forgiveness is a commitment, not a moment. And that's where I was really stuck on after I ended things with Pugsley for the final time. I hated myself. I was like, why did I put myself through such a shitty situation or a shitty relationship? Like, I should have known, because I've been through all of this shit before, but this was the more extreme version. Like, I should have seen the signs. I should have ended it sooner. I could have done this, and this differently. Like, I was self-loathing in it, to the point where I was like, I can't think about this. But slowly, as time went on, and I was talking to Alec about it more, and we were, swapping war stories about relationships and just shitty situations, he was a big part of the healing process. And my friends at the time, Penny, and meeting all my other friends, but Alec and I moved in together in June, and I didn't meet a lot of them, my friends, until October. So it was a 3 to 4 month, like, not even a pause, just like a space between. But all of those moments and going out in public and going to bars and healing, like, really helped me a lot. And like being on the dating apps and seeing the signs and being like, nope, I don't want this, or yeah, that would be nice, or trying to make decisions on what I wanted, what I was looking for, who I was looking for, what I wanted to do. Like there were that chunk of time that I wasn't looking for a relationship and I was just focusing on myself was probably the best thing I ever did for past me. Like that was the best thing I could have done. I wasn't looking for a relationship. I wasn't talking to anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was myself. I was hanging out with my friends. I was shopping for myself. I was getting into my crafts. I was just really enjoying my life at that time and healing without bringing somebody else into my problems, like aka jumping into a new relationship and putting a band-aid on, my shit. And I just slowly started to tell myself, like, I did the best I could in that situation. And there will be an episode here soon telling you everything about I shouldn't even say all, the 3 big relationships that I had that taught me like crazy fucking lessons. They're gonna be long ones, and y'all better buckle up. But I had to learn how to forgive them, how to forgive others, how to forgive my biological mother, how to forgive Penny. Forgiveness is not about making what they did acceptable, like, oh, it's okay, let's hug it out. Like, no. It's about refusing to let their actions poison your life any longer, because it's not fair to you. We only get... I had a hiccup. Oh my god, I'm sorry. We only get one life, and we can't go back. So, that, to highlight how to forgive others is we have to identify the root hurt. What are we really forgiving? The betrayal, the abandonment, the disrespect. Sometimes it's deeper than what we think. We gotta feel our anger without staying in it, because anger is a doorway to clarity. It really just messes with our clear view of things. Separate the person from the behavior. This doesn't excuse them. It makes the situation emotionally manageable. We can see the humanity in them, not to minimize, but in order to understand, like, putting ourselves in their shoes, even if we can't, like, understand what they did, because we ourselves would never do that. I know for a fact, like, I would never do the shit that they did to me to other people. So I'll never, like, be able to justify it in my head of, like, yeah, I understand why you did it. But at the same time, I'm, like, trying to put myself in their shoes, trying to understand, like, their childhood and their trauma, and seeing, like, how that could impact and make a difference on their decisions. Decide what the forgiveness is for, whether, like, is it for your peace? Is it for your growth? Is it for your future? And you have to release the expectation that they'll fix it, because, like I said, forgiveness is internal, not relational. And the question, everyone has, what if the person never apologizes? This is where real forgiveness begins, because when someone never apologizes, you grieve the apology you deserved, and you accept that they aren't capable of giving it. So you detach from needing them to repair it, and that will give you, yourself, the closure they refused to give, because forgiveness becomes an act of self-protection. We see it in, like, all types of relationships. Forgiveness must come with change. Without change, forgiveness becomes self-abandonment, and we don't want to abandon ourselves. And you have your healthy forgiveness, which includes accountability, boundaries, new behavior, honest conversations, and rebuilds that trust. Forgiveness in relationships is not erase it, it's repair it together. And we have forgiveness versus letting go, and these are not the same. Letting go is releasing emotional attachment, and forgiving is releasing resentment. And you can let go without forgiving, and you can forgive and still not want the person in your life, like I've said multiple times. And how do I know I've forgiven? Well, I'm about to fucking tell you. Signs that you've actually moved on and you're healing is, the forgiveness has happened when you can think about the memory without getting upset, or, having just an emotional reaction. You don't replay the situation constantly. You don't wish bad on them. You've accepted that the past can't be different. You choose peace over resentment, and your nervous system relaxes at the thought of it. Like, all in all, forgiveness is like, finally, I feel free. Like, just a breakaway. I remember when there was an issue with one of the guys that I was dating, and it is because he had such an issue, like, with his biological mom, and like her cheating and finding out that his dad wasn't his biological dad. Like, it set a lot of trust issues in motion. Sure, yeah, whatever. And then I thought he cheated on me, and it kickstarted me like saying to one of the girls I thought was my friend, Holly, that, oh, I want to, get back at him or seek revenge by messing with one of his friends. And I remember one point where when we got back together, he brought that up again. And even though he said, like, oh, I forgive you about this situation, I knew he wouldn't fucking let it go or forgive me about this situation, because, let's be honest, he was a fucking pussy. He couldn't move on from it. Now, mind you, I never did anything, like, nothing ever came from me saying those words. It was just me blowing off steam, saying those words because I was mad. Didn't like who I was, I did not like who I was in that moment, but I remember telling him, like, you may not forgive me, but I forgive myself. And my God, did that blow things even worse, okay? Holy shit. I remember saying that and him being like, you have no fucking right to forgive yourself because you did this shit to me and blah, blah, blah. Like, I didn't actually do anything. All I did was say something that I never even acted on. And, maybe I'm still in the wrong for that, but nothing ever happened. Never even texted the friend that I was referring to. Never did anything. Didn't even care. Like, I said it, wasn't true, moved on. And he just wanted to hold on to it, which was fine, but I think it was just a way for him to, be mad and upset about something. But it's just one of those moments where, like, seeing as, like, somebody, I can forgive myself, but you're still holding on instead of letting go. Like, people think that the resentment part is, like, part of it, I guess. But, like, I think if you choose to say it with somebody, like, you have to let go and release that emotional attachment and not hold on to the resentment. So, like, forgiving would be releasing the resentment. And a lot of people get those two, like, mixed up. Like, what, you're gonna say you forgive them and try to move on and let go and then bring it up every fucking argument? Like, no, you're still holding on to resentment. I think that's fucking crazy. So, if you're having issues with forgiving yourself, just know that it takes time. You're doing the best that you can. Just be with yourself, okay? That's all I'm going to say. And you don't have to feel guilty for not forgiving somebody for what they did, because that time will come. You don't have to have them back in your lives. That's not the point of forgiving somebody. You just have to be gentle with yourself, talk to yourself about the situation over and over again until you're finally like, yeah, you know what? I'm not upset about this situation anymore. I'm not upset about what happened or the events that occurred. And just, be free of it. Don't let it hold you back and have all this anger within yourself, because that's not healthy for you. It's not good for you, because when we're angry and, resentful within ourselves, we become different people. But when you see peace and you have that feeling within yourself of being at peace, you're a whole different person, and you're more truly like closer aligned with who you're meant to be when you're at peace. And that's what I think everyone should strive for. You're like, if I'm peaceful, then who the hell am I? Like, if I'm not angry, then what am I? An angry, upset, miserable person. Why do you want to be like that? Like, you're just living in anger and resentment. Like, that's not healthy. Don't you want to be someone different? Like, I don't know, but take your time with it. Try to ask those deep questions, and the why and the how and the when, and just be patient. Like, I know it'll come. Sometimes it'll take a year, sometimes it'll take 2 years, but you'll get there. It will happen, I promise. If you have a hard time about the memories and the nostalgia, I still have pictures and memories of me and Penny and our times out and our adventures, and I don't think I'll ever really delete them because they were still an important part of my life. But I know for a fact that I will never be friends with her again, and that's okay. So if you're still asking yourself the question of like, I don't want them in my life anymore, what do I do with all these memories? Should I just delete them? That is perfectly up to you. And if you want to keep them, keep them. If not, you don't have to. But, those memories are still yours. They still happened. And it makes them more cherishable, I guess, once they're gone and done and completely over. Like, I was still happy in that moment and those moments. And, even though it ended the way that it did, I can be happy that I didn't delete them, and I probably won't, because, they were still important. So that's all I gotta say. So that is the end of this episode. If you guys really liked it, enjoyed it, you know what to do, share it, send it to somebody, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow the Spotify account. If you guys are interested in purchasing products such as jewelry, or anything else that I have on my Etsy page, there's a link in my Instagram bio and TikTok. So my Instagram is Migdalia Bonilla, Migdalia, B as in boy, Onillaa, or Life with Migdalia, Lifewithmigdalia. God, it's so exhausting having a long fucking name, but whatever. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And like my TikTok and whatever else is pretty much the same. So if you want to give a follow or whatever, do what you gotta do. I appreciate your guys' support, always. If you're interested in listening to, a different topic or have any questions or whatever, don't be scared to comment something or, DM me. More so comment, okay? I look at my comments more than anything. But yeah, so I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next time. Love you, bye.